BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds and everything from football, NHL to entertainment to political props. Head to BetOnline today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Hey everybody, welcome to Bleav in Rams, part of the Bleav Network. I am Tyler Dragon. I'm solo today. Aaron is traveling after a long weekend, but be sure to subscribe, comment, and rate this podcast. You can also catch us on Bleav TV and follow us on social media. I can't believe Aaron's missing out on, I can't say Victory Monday. I have to say losing Monday, but that is okay. We are not losers on this podcast, and the Rams aren't going to be losers the whole season, right? Nah, they're not. But before we get into all that, you see my hat? Yes, melon. I love this hat. You can wear it everywhere. You can wear it swimming in the pool. You can wear it going on a hike. You can wear it just outside going grocery shopping with the family. So they have all different colors, all different sizes, even fits my big head. So get you a melon hat. I'm sure you'll like it. I like it. Aaron has one. I think the whole Bleav in team has a melon hat. So why don't you be like us and get one? So today I was at the Rams and Eagles game, and there were a lot to take away from that game. The obvious is Saquon Barkley was a man amongst boys. He was outstanding in that game, the best player on the field. Eagles single game rushing record, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, had over 300 yards from scrimmage. The Rams really could not stop Saquon. It was the Saquon Barkley show. And to me, the Rams, they really needed to make stops in critical moments, and they weren't able to. They really never had momentum. When you thought momentum was maybe swaying on the Rams side, Saquon would break off a 70-yard run. And then that 72-yard run, those runs really bookended the second half and broke the game open when the Rams were still, within striking distance. Offensively for the Rams, I thought that Matthew Stafford was under duress the entire game. That offensive line did pretty bad protecting Stafford. I mean, Stafford was sacked 5 times. He was hit 11. That's not what you want to see a veteran quarterback like Stafford go through. He was just under siege the entire night. And really, that offensive line, it was one of the few times this season I saw them get thoroughly outplayed. Now, they've been outplayed this season, do not get me wrong, but they were thoroughly outplayed by the Eagles' front seven. I mean, the tackles had a terrible time blocking. The interior offensive line really could not block well, and Stafford really did not have time to throw the football and be comfortable back there. Now, when he did get time, he found Puka Nacua, another exceptional game, over 100 receiving yards for Puka. That was probably the lone bright spot for the Rams. Nacua was one of the best players on the field, and the Eagles could not cover him, whether it was Slay or anybody else on that side of the football. The Eagles really could not cover Puka Nacua. And so when I was in the locker room, I went to both post-game locker rooms, the Rams and the Eagles. From the Rams side, I felt like they were going to just move on from this game, learn from it, and move on and get ready for the next weeks ahead, because it doesn't get any easier for the Rams. They have a New Orleans Saints team that's still hungry. They got to travel to New Orleans. Then they have the Buffalo Bills at home. So And this week, it's a week in this league, it's a week-to-week league, and you have to be able to learn from losses and move on fairly quickly. And the Rams do. And they're 5-6 right now. You still have the whole season still in front of you. Nobody has really ran away with the NFC West division. And I think that is a positive thing going on with the Rams, because when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, the Arizona Cardinals, the Rams are still right there. Yes, they're third in the division, but they still play Seattle. They still play Arizona. So they can still get things going in this division. They just need to play a complete game and be able to, one, protect Matt Stafford, which they did not do last night. But I felt there was still some, there was disappointment in that Rams locker room, but it wasn't doom and gloom like this season's over and, we just got embarrassed. No, the Eagles, they're a legitimate team and they are a Super Bowl caliber club. Don't get it twisted. They are. And for the Rams, one thing that is good for them, it's not like they haven't had litmus tests this year. They played the Detroit Lions. They played the Eagles. They lost to both teams, but those are the best two teams in the NFC. So they know what it takes to be at the top of the mountain in the NFC. The Rams, you went head to head with both teams. You probably played a little bit better against Detroit than you did against the Eagles, but at least you know what the top dogs are like in the NFC because you faced them both. You lost, but you have valuable film, valuable experiences that you can learn and grow from, especially for a young team on offense, along that offensive line and on defense. I thought Jared Verse played a good game. I mean, those Fisk played a good game. Those rookies up front, they're still disruptive. And so they have invaluable experiences going up against two of the premier teams in the NFC. But from the Eagles side, when I went into their locker room, it was like, this is business as usual. And the Eagles really I think they're learning from their time last year and their experiences from last year. Because if you remember, week 13, everything changed for the Eagles. They started the year 10-1, and then they fell apart down the end, losing 6 of their last 7, including that playoff loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and their season just collapsed. So now they're pretty much at that same juncture of the season this year. The biggest difference is they have an MVP candidate. Yes, I said it, an MVP candidate, Saquon Barkley, in the backfield, and he showed why on Sunday night. I mean, that was one of the best performances I have witnessed in person from a running back. Over 200 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, did it through the air, catching passes out of the backfield, over 300 yards from scrimmage. That was an exceptional performance. Bleav the 9th most yards from scrimmage by a player in single game in a single game in league history. So it was just exceptional performance from him. And he was asked about getting some MVP consideration. He said, that's good and all, but he just wants to win games, and he's found a home in Philadelphia. And he was getting MVP chance at SoFi Stadium. And that's one thing I do want to touch on today is I did feel sorry for the Rams a little bit because SoFi Stadium looked like Lincoln Financial Field out there. There were a whole lot of Eagles fans there. Now, granted, LA is a destination city. Fans are going to travel to LA, especially this time of year, warmer weather. It wasn't too warm in LA last night, about 50, 60, but it's a lot warmer than Philadelphia or any East Coast city. So fans came. I saw a lot of green in that stadium. I heard a lot of MVP chants when Saquon was running wild. Saw fans cheering for the Eagles, fans booing when the Rams had the ball. The Rams had to operate on a silent count. So, Rams fans, we need y'all to come out and support the Rams when they're at home. I know maybe this season they're not 10-1. They don't have a winning record, but got to go out and support. We can't have that. And I say the same thing on the other side with Chargers fans too. Sometimes when Chargers games happen, there are a whole lot of fans of the opposite team. So LA fans, Chargers, Rams, you got to come out and support the teams because it wasn't a good look seeing all that Eagle green, especially when Saquon was running wild for that 70-yard touchdown, that 72-yard touchdown, 255 yards rushing. It was woof. So I hope the next home game is at the Buffalo Bills. Bills come to town. Bills fans do travel, but let's get those Rams fans at SoFi Stadium because the Rams, that's going to be a huge game. It's a primetime game. Thursday night football, I Bleav. So Rams fans, show up, show out, prove that they ain't like us. Shout out Kendrick. But yeah, so I really thought overall that game was just won on the trenches and with Saquon Barkley with the Eagles. It was just a dominant performance, and you have to give credit where credit is due. The Eagles are one of the best teams in all of football, and the Rams are still trying to find out who they are right now, especially at this time of the year where your season could either go north or south. And the Rams, luckily for them, that division is still wide open in the NFC West. I tweeted this the other day that the NFC West is probably the most interesting and most competitive division in the NFL right now. You have all these teams jumbled up, 5, 6 wins. No team you can point to and say they are the clear front runner. You look at the San Francisco 49ers, they lost badly to the Packers. They're dealing with a slew of injuries. Brock Purdy didn't play. Trent Williams didn't play. Nick Bosa did not play. When they're without one or two of their key players, history has shown they're not the same team. Who knows if they're going to come back in Week 13. And who do they have in Week 13? The Buffalo Bills, one of the best teams in all of football, certainly one of the best teams in the AFC. And then you have the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona played decent, I guess you can say, in Seattle, but they were defeated. Shout out to the Seahawks for getting a huge home win and taking over first place in the division. Arizona, to me, and I've covered a few games, the Cardinals games, the Cardinals-Bears game a few weeks ago specifically, and they seem like a team that's on the rise, but a little bit ahead of schedule. That defense is playing well. They're surprising people. Kyler Murray's had a resurgent type season. Offensively, they run the football well. For their sake, Marvin Harrison Jr., I would want to see their chemistry get a little bit better with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison, but I think he's going to be a fine rookie. But overall, the Cardinals, I still can't believe in them in the NFC West. And then with the Seahawks, we've already seen the Seahawks are beatable. The Seahawks, Geno Smith, it's up and down, but he's a good, fine quarterback. I love their receiving corps with DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett. They can run the football as well. They play stout defense, have a defensive-minded head coach. To me, they are probably playing the best in the NFC West, but the difference between all 4 teams in the division is minuscule. There's not a huge difference at all. It would not surprise me if the Rams or the 49ers caught Seattle and moved up to first place in the division. But the Rams are going to have to play a lot better, and that starts along the offensive line. They have to protect Stafford. I saw Stafford on his back way too much last night. He's probably in an ice tub right now, getting an ice bath. Definitely going to be sore today, this week, with the amount of times he was sacked, amount of times he was hit 11 times. You never want to see that from a veteran quarterback. So, in all, though, Rams fans, it is okay. It's not Victory Monday, but on this week, I feel like we can turn the page and look to that game in the Big Easy in New Orleans. This is a winnable game. And like I've been saying all year on this Bleav in Rams podcast, you have to beat the teams that you are better than on your schedule, that are decisively better than. And to me, the Rams are a better team than the Saints. The Saints fired their coach for a reason, and Dennis Allen. They've been up and down, inconsistent. They arguably traded away their best player at the trade deadline, at least their best defensive player. Now, Alvin Kamara's going to be a matchup nightmare. He's a player, and he's not the between the tackles runner as Saquon, but he's a running back that can do those outside zone runs. He's a running back who can catch passes out of the backfield and can have a 100, 200 yards from scrimmage type game. He's that type of player. He's a Pro Bowl type player. So best believe the Saints are going to look at the film, what the Eagles did, especially with Saquon, and try to emulate some of those packages, some of those plays with Alvin Kamara, because Kamara can break away and break a long one and break a game wide open, similar to what Saquon Barkley did. So the Rams have to tighten up the screws on defense for sure, especially that run defense, because the Saints really don't have a high-powered pass game. Derek Carr's decent quarterback from Fresno State, right up the road. But overall, the Rams should beat the Saints. I know it's going to be a road game. I know it's a hostile environment. Mercedes-Benz Superdome, I believe what it's called, one of the best environments in the NFL. New Orleans, one of my personal favorite cities because of the food, but still, the Rams should be fine as long as they learn from their mistakes from week 12, because best believe there were a lot of mistakes, but they should be fine as long as they tighten the screws on the run game and got to protect Matthew Stafford. So that's it from this Bleav in Rams podcast. I know I was solo today. I'm sure she's landed by now. I'm surprised she hasn't hopped on the show, but next week we're going to have Victory Monday, hopefully. And then Aaron will be back on the West Coast, the best coast, and we'll be talking about a Rams victory over the New Orleans Saints. So that'll do it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please like and subscribe to the podcast, and I will see you with my co-host Aaron next week. Have a good one, guys.